There's a follow-up question to that. You mentioned your appointments that you're going to make. So how are you planning to use your transition team to focus on this long-term vision of reNEW? And who will you work with to make it happen?
Well, I got to confess, I haven't spent a lot of time thinking about my transition team. I will certainly over the course of the next year, but I've been focused on building a campaign organization and doing the outreach. And I think I'm not going to presume on the verdict of which is rightfully the people of Minnesotans. I'm certainly not going to take any of this for granted. I think that would be a tragic mistake. I'm going to go out and work every day and every night for every vote that I possibly can. I expect the primary to be very close. I expect the general election to be close, fiercely contested. I mean, I think anybody who hasn't walked through the hellfire that I have in a statewide election, especially with Republicans coming in the onslaught that will come, could possibly understand what lies ahead. So, I mean, I will give some thought at some point to transition. It will certainly involve the people who have supported me, the organizations that supported me. It'll go beyond that to people who supported somebody else, but whose advice and experience I value. But got to win first.
Okay, we're going to transition to our open Q and answer.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So, and again, questions are 30-second long. We give you 2 minutes to answer. And our first question comes from Paul.
I have worked on ag issues at the Capitol since the 1985 farm crisis. So what's happened in these past years is an increasing dominance of metro-based corporate agribusiness and commodity groups like pork producers co-opted by corporate interests have gained more and more control. What's happened at the farm gate is family farmers continue to have to do more with less. One bright spot for family farmers has been increasing demand for sustainable and organic agriculture. This last year at the Minnesota legislature, between the legislature and the governor, the overall ag cut was 8%. Sustainable and organic agriculture got cuts up to 70%, over 70% cuts. Question is, what will you do as governor to put the interests of family farmers before metro-based agribusiness interests? What skills, background, and vision do you want your ag commissioner to have?
I want a farmer. I want somebody who comes from an understanding of family farming and the challenges that it faces. I want someone who is committed to traveling the state and listening to farmers, working with farmers. I want somebody who's committed to throwing the dead wood out of that agency and a lot of other agencies that has been built up. Right now there are 17 people in the commissioner's office in the Minnesota Department of Agriculture. For 426 employees. I looked it up because I spoke to the Farmers Union just a couple weeks ago. When I was Commissioner of Energy and Economic Development, we had over 300 employees, and there were 5 of us in the Commissioner's office, one of whom was Paul Wellstone. So he counts for more than the other 15, but he was one person. So I'm going to clear the political hacks out. I'm going to appoint somebody who's qualified. That'll be a novelty for a lot of these agencies. They actually get a commissioner who's qualified and who actually believes in the mission of the agencies. And that will be the case. And then we'll work on particular concerns as it affects Minnesota farmers. I ran in 1998 for governor, some of you may recall, and I appointed as my lieutenant governor Julie Jansen, who was raised on a Century farm in the Renville County area, and who was also a mother of 6 and a home daycare provider until the corporate feedlot lagoons drove her business into bankruptcy because kids were getting sick, caused one of her children to have lasting brain difficulties, damage. And we stood up together to corporate agriculture, especially as it was destroying the lives of people in rural Minnesota. So I have a proven record, once again, of taking a stand, and I'll do so, and I'll work in every way possible to make sure state policies, tax, and other assistance, Rural Finance Authority, this new beginning farmer loan program and the like, encourage small family farming and the continuation of farming within families.
Our next open questions comes from Veronica.
Hi.
Hi.
Our vision rejects the politics of accept that says that some people are not deserving of full participation in our society. So in your campaign, how will you address the controversial issue of immigration and how it affects access to full participation in our society in a way that demonstrates your commitment to the success and dignity of every person without exception?
Well, I believe that every person should be in the state and the country legally. I also recognize that from personal direct experience, that the U.S. Immigration Naturalization Service is without a doubt the most dysfunctional, anti-functional, non-functional agency I've ever experienced in local, state, or federal government. So I believe there should be a path, clear and an understandable path to citizenship for everyone who's in this country presently, and that we ought to then, put the responsibility, especially on employers, to make sure that they do uphold their part of the responsibility to employ people who are in this country legally, to give them the full rights of earned citizenship, which is a living wage, good benefits, stop the exploitation in wages and in poor wages and bad working conditions that they're using now to corrupt the process, and then often turn around and complain about it. When one company recently, the largest janitorial services company in Minneapolis, was busted for some 1,300 undocumented workers, I mean, come on. And they get, a little slap on the little finger, and they, fire all the employees and destroy their lives and their families' lives, and they go away scot-free to continue to that kind of just abusive practice. So I think as governor, I take an oath of office to uphold the law and to uphold the Constitution, and I will do so. But I'll do so with an understanding of the present reality and an understanding that people who are in this country and want to take part legally and lawfully and become contributing citizens, I want to give them that opportunity to do so. And I will work with the federal government officials to try to achieve that.